Hey guys, I'm Shark coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day to join yours truly talking some Raid Shadow Legends. What do you guys got going on in your lives? How you doing? What do I have going on? That's the big question here. Let's see. I am reading / listening to audiobook. I'm listening to Winston Churchill biography, and I just find the dude absolutely fascinating. I am now 60 digits, 6-0, memorizing pi. I don't know why the heck I'm doing it, but it feels good to be doing something with my freaking brain, right? What else? I'm listening to NF's new album. I am watching a lot of NBA playoff basketball. That's kind of what I've been doing in my free time. How about you guys? You go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Today, we're going to go ahead and rank off from 10 to 1. The best defensive nukers inside the game. Let's just go ahead and kick things off. I'm going to show you the multipliers on all of these champions as we go through them. But first, guys, today's video is sponsored by Bloodline Heroes of Lightdass. Now, if you like dark fantasy games, then Bloodline Heroes of Lightdass is for you. It's truly one of the most unique gacha games that I have ever played. Go ahead and try it out. Download the game using the QR code on the screen right now or using my link in the description below. So in Bloodline, we collect fantasy characters with sleek designs and unique abilities based on their gender. Check out the new Bloodline release this Easter, guys. The Choir Discordant, who are Revenants, return to life to bring those that wronged to their end. In this game, champions can be obtained not only just by summoning, but also by breeding or by capturing prisoners. So I said this game was unique, and one of the coolest things about it is the hybrid possibilities. So you marry two bloodlines, and you create up to 1,000, actually over 1,000 different possibilities and strategic lineups based on those combinations. So you can create your own unique legendary champions by fusing different combinations such as elves, demons, we got demigods, we got orcs, dwarves, lycans, you name it, vampires even in this game. It's really, really cool. And then after you have your hybrids, you deploy them in this vast fantasy world, decorate your kingdom even with skins. So you have that customization element in this game as well. They also have a very rewarding and interesting late game PvP element to Bloodline, guys, where every player, all players can design their unique hybrid champions, Bloodcraft Legends, by earning points in seasonal guild wars. New bloodlines and legendary hybrids are constantly being released in this game, so the possibilities are truly endless, and you can always find something that suits your unique style. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go ahead and download Bloodline Heroes of Lightdass today using the QR code on the screen or the link in the description below and the pinned comment of today's video. I got a starter pack for you guys worth $20, including a summoning crystal. We get 100k gold, 100 diamonds, and the first 30 players to leave your account ID and your username in the comments below will receive a free legendary female orc champion, Urgrel, who is one of the best warriors to carry you inside the game. Guys, thank you Bloodline Heroes of Lightdass for sponsoring today's video. So starting out at number 10 is one of my personal favorites. It is Spirit Affinity Iron Brago, man. He's got to be up there in just the best overall Spirit Affinity nukers in the game, just in general, right? There's not that many. I feel like Spirit Affinity has the least amount of nukers. There's Cleoterix, there's Yannica, there's Iron Brago, there's Magnar, but who else is there?
Oh, you better be joking.
I'm sure I'm forgetting tons, but anyway, Iron Brago is an absolute beast. If we look at his multipliers here, his A1 has a 3.6 defensive multiplier. His A2, Fearless Charge, has a 5.1. This is a single target with a stun. And then the AoE, the A3 is a 3.7 multiplier, which is really, really good here. His base defense is 1487, so everything's great about Iron Brago. It's a 75% provoke on Battlestorm, again, with that great multiplier, so he can actually dish out some really solid damage. He's also bringing increased attack, which is really, really nice, albeit on a different skill, a different ability than his big, hard-hitting AoE attack for the arena. It'd be amazing if you had the increased attack on the same ability, but again, he has an amazing kit, and this dude, even compared with a lot of the other champions, not all, but a lot of them on the list, he really has the most amount of overall versatility in the game. I'm talking above and beyond just bringing the damage, right? This guy has the increased defense for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. He's got the 2-turn stun if they're under 2 or more buffs. That's incredible. He's got the amazing increased defense of allies by 10% of this champion's defense. Heck, you can easily get an extra 500 defense on everybody. Really, really good stuff with Iron Brago. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 9. Number 9, going to be another champion like Iron Brago, who is Spirit Affinity and an all-around just a beast of a champion in the game, and it's Helicath, right? So Helicath, a previous Fusion champion in the game, and boy, oh boy, I don't think anybody who went for him regrets going for him. He's that good. He's got the double hitter with Ignore Shield and block damage, which is actually really handy in the arena as well. I've been seeing more and more of him in the arena. I even saw somebody in live Top 100 live arena using Helicath recently against me, and I forgot who won, to be totally honest, but let's just give it to him. I lost to Helicath. There we go. Block damage on his A3, of course, which he's known for, but on his A2, he's got this shield damage, shield based on defense, so is the damage, obviously, on a 3-turn cooldown. Let's take a look at the multipliers here on this A2. So by the way, this is AftershockUnited.gg, AftershockUnited.gg. I'll have a link so you can see all the champions. It's a nice tier list. They have all the multipliers, and it's really, really quick website too. 1.8 defensive multiplier on the A1, a 3.8 on that AoE. And again, his base defense is pretty solid here at 1443. So yeah, Helicath can definitely be an underrated defense-based nuker in the game. Number 8 on the list is going to be our friend, the Dwarf. I say our friend, it's actually a champion that I've barely spoken about here on the channel, and it's Gottfried Brassclad. This dude is absolutely clad out in brass, man. I mean, you can't see even a small semblance of this guy's face, man. What is that character in Game of Thrones that you can't see his face at all? I wonder what this guy looks like. I wonder. We'll never know. Unless it's in like the Call of the Arbiter, you know, the series, which it won't be because it was filmed like 3 years ago. 1432, again, a very healthy base defense on this champion. On his, I want to start with his passive, right? Whenever an ally is attacked while under block damage, placed by this champion, which comes in the active effect, has a 100% chance of placing a stun on the attacker. That's really annoying inside the arena. If an ally is about to get killed with a fatal hit, blocks that incoming damage and places a block damage buff on them for 1 turn, again, on a 4-turn cooldown. He's got the increased defense on all allies, removing decreased defense and weaken, but his claim to fame is the concuss ability, is A2. This is an AoE stun, 100% stun on a 3-turn cooldown, and he deals a decent amount of damage as well on this A2. On his A1, 2-time hitter, decreased defense, and provoke, not bad at a 50% chance on that second hit, so a little bit of control there, and debuffing on his A1. Kind of cool champion. Is he the most OP, you know, defense-based champion in the game? Absolutely not, but he definitely has some utility. I love that A2. Let's check the multipliers. So on the A1, a 1.8 multiplier. On the A2, a 3.7 on that concuss AoE. So really nice damage there by Gottfried. Coming in at number 7, guys. At number 7 is going to be, I always forget, dude. It's crazy, but I always forget what it's one of my most used champions, and I usually never have a problem, but I always forget that Michinaki is I always forget his freaking faction, man. He looks like he could fit anywhere, right? Is he a Shadowkin?
Hello, how are you doing today?
Yeah, it's a Shadow. Come on, Ash. He doesn't really look like a Shadowkin to me. I guess he does. It's just that green head of his. It throws me off. Is he a demon spawn? Is he undead? No, he's a Shadowkin, Ash. I love this dude, especially in Hydra Clan Boss. He's really one of the best champions out there, one of the most sought after champions out there in the game. Again, for Hydra, he's just one of the best in terms of everything, right? He's got the debuffs, he's got the damage, and then he's removing buffs, and then he's placing a hex on a 3-turn cooldown. Attacking all enemies 2 times. First hit removes all buffs from the target. Second hit places a hex. And then the AoE decreased defense and the decreased attack if they're under hex. Whenever an ally attacks an enemy under hex, he has a 50% chance to join the attack. Doesn't work against exposed necks, but it is what it is. And then he's got the burn at a 60% land rate on the A1. Like, dude, this guy is a machine, and he hits pretty hard as well. Definitely, if we're just talking PvE, he's gotta be up there, like maybe number like 3 or something, or 2 or 1 even. But of course, we're weighing this list on PvP as well, and you know, quite a bit weight to the PvP element of this channel, this list today. However, again, I have to include him. He's a beast. Let's take a look at his multipliers. All right, check this out, guys. He's got a 3.5 on his A1, a 3.9 on his A2, and then a 2.1 multiplier on his A3, which hits 2 times. Dude, that is beast mode. That's beast mode. I mean, that's more damage than Iron Brago. His base defense is really solid too, 1465. Yeah, Michinaki is an absolute stud of a champion. Comes in at number 7. Arguably a little bit of a snub having it at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is a champion I actually see a lot more of lately in the arena. And sure, he has the annoying passive that we all know about, the freeze that he's bringing to every fight in Tormund the Cold. But really, his damage is pretty dang impressive. He's got the AoE with the freeze shot on the A1. Instantly activates his skill whenever an enemy under freeze and HP burn debuff takes any damage from the HP burn debuff. Not bad. Good multipliers on an AoE on the A1, right? On the A2, removes all buffs from the target enemy, then attacks them 2 times, steals all buff if they're under freeze, ignores defense if they're under freeze and a burn, and then another AoE on Blizzard Rage, the A3. So an AoE on the A1, AoE on the A3, attacks all enemies, block buffs, and heal reduction if they're under freeze, has a chance of placing provoke on enemies not under freeze, 80% provoke, so again, really solid. You build this dude with enough accuracy, and you're just controlling and controlling and controlling and more control with the freeze and the provoke in his kit. He's got defense in all battles by 33%. What is Tormund packing in terms of multipliers here? Let's go ahead and take a look. You see what I'm talking about on the speed here? On the website, I kind of like it. All right, so we have a 2 multiplier. Again, that's really good for a multiplier on an AoE on the A1. A 2 defense, and then on that A3, man, a 3.8 multiplier. Big damage from Tormund the Cold. Definitely a serviceable go second nuker and control champion, bringing a lot to the table. Coming in at number 5. Ooh, this guy, another champion I wanted to put higher on the list, frankly, guys. It is Ragash. I think this guy is a maniac. Just like almost every other champion that we spoken about today, a very healthy amount of base defense at 1443. Fairly speedy too at 102. Excuse me, choking up, talking about Ragash.
Just stay alive! I'm not going to lose you!
He's got defense in all battles, similar to a lot of the other champions that we spoke about today. On his A1, he's got decreased defense. On his A2, he's got a decreased defense, AoE, and a stun on a 3-turn cooldown. So wait a second. He's dealing a lot of damage. He's placing decreased defense, and he's placing a stun all on a 3-turn cooldown. That is just insane, man. What a powerful ability. And then I've mentioned this before, but it's just like you look at his A1, you look at his A2, and then you're like, wow, this guy's a monster, he's a beast. What else could they possibly add? How about a big version of strength and increased speed on all allies, and a perfect veil on himself on a 4-turn cooldown on his A3? Like, okay. At the start of each turn, plays a perfect veil for 1 turn on the ally with the highest attack. So now he's protecting our nuker. He makes a great combo with you know, well, any squishy nuker that you're worried about, right? Inflicts 20% more damage against targets whose defense is lower than this champion's defense. That's a big damage boost that he's got built into his passive. Let's check out those multipliers, man. Dude, they made him, he is, I don't know if it's just me, but he is criminally underrated. Like, I don't hear many people talk about him when they talk about just the best of the best in the game. His kit, to me, it really is. Anyway, a 4.3 multiplier on that AoE, dude, plus the 20% extra damage off of his passive, as long as you can stack up that defense enough. A 1.8 multiplier, but it's a 2-time hitter on the A1 as well. So we're looking at a ton of damage. We're looking at big buffs, all the debuffs, control, perfect veils. Wow, what a champion. What a champ. Okay, number 4, guys, is going to be, we just did a whole big rework video on Valkyrie, and boy, am I in love with this champion, built to be a nuker. Her A3 only has a 3 multiplier on it. But boy, she can pack a punch, and partially because of this base defense being so freaking high. 1,600 almost on the base defense, so easily to scale this enormously. And I was adding another syllable. Enormously. Dude, it's insane, man. If you missed that video, go check it out. I loved my rebuilt Valkyrie and Savage gear inside the arena. I built her super slow. This is another reason that she's so high on the list, right? I'm just going to show you guys the build. As I was mentioning, Savage in defense on her. We build her very slow, like 174 speed, and we build her to nuke in the Savage gear with Helm Smasher. But we're picking up rapid response, 30% chance of increasing the turn meter by 10% when a buff cast by this champion is removed or expires, and we build her with enough accuracy so that we can come in here and use her passive as in lieu of speed, essentially. So we can get defense percentage on her boots, stack up that defense even higher, ergo even bigger nukes, and then this champion's turn meter will be increased by 10% each time an enemy champion places a buff. So we can rely on jealousy and rely on masteries to get her turn meter, so she's taking a bunch of turns without her necessarily having to be fast. It's a really sneaky way to build this champion as an absolute tank, not to mention a lot of defense that you not necessarily can get away with all the other champions that we've mentioned today. So as I mentioned, guys, she does have a 3 multiplier on that A2, but again, just because of the overall utility that she can bring, not to mention all the counterattacks that she brings on your entire team, right? She's a great nuker and just a really, really good champion with that counterattack, that shield, and those big, heavy hits.
Wait, what the hell are you talking about?
Vis-a-vis jealousy. Number 3 on the list, guys, is going to be none other than Solus. So the big fella got a buff about 1.5 years ago or so, I want to say. He used to be super slow and his base defense was like 12 or something, you know, it was like 1220. They gave him like 200 extra defense or so, and they gave him a bunch of extra speed. It was a great buff. They adjusted his multipliers slightly to make up for it, but he still is on paper one of the hardest hitting champions out there inside the entire game, right? He ranks 3 on our list today. In terms of defense base, he has a stun on the A1, on the A2, Wave of Despair 3 times at random, removing all buffs. Keep that in mind. Each hit has a 75, make it 100% chance when booked to remove not one, but all buffs. Also plays a provoke for 1 turn. If a buff was removed, the provoke cannot be resisted. This is a sneaky good, not even sneaky, it's just a very good ability for the arena, right? Just, you get some control in there. You're removing buffs, which are so meta right now. Just gotta build them, obviously, with enough accuracy, because we do need to remove buffs in order to place a provoke, right? And the A3. Attacks all enemies on Reign of Terror. His big, hard-hitting ability. Increase the duration of all debuffs on each target by 1 turn. Then places a provoke on all enemies for 1 turn. Places a shield on the champion for 2 turns, equal to 30% of the damage inflicted. Damage increases by 10% for each debuff on the target. Whew. Man, he's a beast. Let's go ahead and check out his multipliers. Again, we're talking like raw damage nukers out there. Nobody can beat Solus. You'll see why I have number 2 and number 1 ranked ahead of him, though. A 2.8 on the A1. Wave of Despair is a 1.8 times 3 hitter, and look at it, guys. A 4.9, the highest multiplier by a significant margin that we've seen today on that A3 Reign of Terror. A big, hard, heavy nuke, plus some control to boot. All right, guys, the top 2. Number 2 is going to be, nope, not over here. Can I get up here? Okay, there we go. It's going to be a Banner Lord, and it's Stultus Dragonbane. I'm seeing more and more and more of Stultus Dragonbane inside Live Arena, guys. This guy is a monster. Why do I put him ahead of Solus, you ask? Talk about that in just 1 second. First is Kit. 2-time hitter with targets under any debuff. Decrease the target's turn meter by 10% on the A1. Drake Hunter Tactics. Attacks all enemies 2 times. 3-turn cooldown. Each hit 65% chance stun. A really, really reliable stun on that A2 because each hit has that 65% chance at landing it, plus a lot of damage. On the A3, Dragonheart. This is why I love my man Stultus. This is why I have him above Solus. because he's bringing his own increased defense buff, right, for 3 turns. So he's placing increased defense on himself. Basically, you don't need to have that Mithrala, that Siphi, whoever you're using as an increased defense champion, which I probably should have said at the start of this video. On all these champions, we want to set them up with an increased defense. It adds a mammoth extra damage, obviously, with that 60% increased defense buff on them. But again, with Staltus, he's bringing it on himself. So you come in with the A3 first. He gets that big, significant increased defense, keeping himself alive. But most importantly, at least for the services up today's video, he's doing more damage, and then he's placing a decreased crit damage or a decreased speed on enemies whose attack is equal to or lower than their defense. That decreased speed, really handy. Decreased crit damage, okay, whatever. And then the passive, whenever an enemy tries to place a weakened debuff, a decreased defense debuff, or a poison debuff on this champion, it reflects them right back onto the attacker. Damage increases by 5% for each debuff on the target. That's a really, really nice passive. I did a video recently on Staltus Dragonbane, and he is an absolute monster against Nether Spider and Dragon, specifically Dragon. He's on my fastest team, and it's all because of him that I'm able to run Dragon Hard 10 super fast, because all those poisons are going right back onto the Dragon. That's it, man. It's insane. Anyway, he's also bringing defense in all battles by 30%. Let's take a look at his multipliers here, guys. Staltus Dragonbane, what do we have? So we have a 4 multiplier on that A3. It's no 4.9, but again, I love that he has that stun. It's a 2.1 times 2, so maybe, you know, a 4.2. It doesn't exactly work that way, but it's a 2.1 times 2 hitter on the A2, which again is a very heavy nuke yet again in this kit, and then a 2-time hitter, a 1.9 on each hit on the A1. Don't forget that extra damage if they're under any debuffs for each debuff on that passive as well. And then before we go to number 1 on the list, I do want to give a massive honorable mention. I think 2 videos ago now on the channel, I gave my man Fortis a shot, and dude, he just delivered, man. He surpassed my expectations, many of you guys as well, in the comments of that video. He's so much fun, but yet he's just too hard to set up, right? Like, we get the chance of the skill's a 40% chance of unlocked whenever you place a fear or true fear. He's just like very far from the meta. It's difficult to get him activated, to set him up. And in order to put all the pieces in place, like I did in that video, it's the Noble thumbnail, by the way, a couple videos. Check that video out, guys. It was like one of my favorite arena teams that I've made in a while. It's just not going to, I can't lie, like as fun as it's very difficult to pull off. You need to have super fast speeds or really, really good gear, and even then it's still somewhat niche with Polymorph and Stone Skin. Anyway, I've talked long enough about Fortis. I just had to give him a massive shout out after he impressed the hell out of me in that video, guys. His base defense isn't that high, but this ability definitely can smack, okay? Number 1, I'm sure it's not going to be a surprise to anybody watching right now. It is, to me, not even close. It's Harima. Harima is the best defensive-based nuker in the game. I mean, what else can I say? She's absolutely amazing. 1531, one of the higher base defenses that we've seen here outside of Valkyrie, I want to say. On the A1, she's got a 75% chance of placing decreased attack. Also has a 25% chance, make it a 50% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff on all other enemies for 2 turns, as long as the attack is critical. Great A1. On the A2, Purgative Punishment absolutely smacks as a triple hitter. Each hit decreases the target's defense by 5%, stacks up to 30%. Each hit increases this champion's defense by 5%, stacks up to 100%. If you kill somebody, which you normally do, this is a Rotos killer, man, or really anybody killer, it will instantly activate her super hard-hitting AoE on the A3. Celestial Awe, 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, places a provoke for 1 turn, can't be blocked or resisted if the champion's from demon spawn. That's super powerful. Candyman, Duchess, Wither the Crowned, Magnar, Mortu Macabre. There's so many good Demon Spawn, meta Demon Spawn champions. And Nithwi, Blood Twin. I mean, there's just so many. Helicath, Lord Shazar, Prince Kymar, Hefrak, Candyman, as I mentioned, Helicath, Kratraxa. Dude, I mean, like, all these champions can't resist, but not only can they not resist the provoke, that's only the beginning, guys, of why Harima is so amazing. So this does a lot of damage. We'll get to that in a moment. Look at this passive Demon Slayer. It's broken. It's insane. I love it. Enemy ignore defense effects are decreased by 50%. So right out the gate, you know, she's mitigating anybody that you're going against. She's mitigating, you know, a Savage set and Helm Smasher all by herself, or at least 50% of that damage, that ignore defense, right? And then champions from Demon Spawn faction cannot inflict a critical hit on this champion. So she's a hard counter to Mortu Macabre that should be a hard counter to her because it's a strong affinity matchup, but he can't land a crit. Ergo, Peril just does nothing to her.
You don't have to say it like that.
This champion cannot land weak hits on champions from the Demon Spawn faction. Again, that allows you to, you know, you go against, I've gone against Duchess with Harima 1,000,000 times in live arena, right? AKA like 200 times. And I'm not exaggerating. They always open up with a perfect veil on everybody, and then my poor Harima's just sitting there with only one target to attack. Normally, you wouldn't want to go into a Spirit Affinity tanky champion with a Force Affinity champion. It would be a big waste. But she cannot land a weak hit against Demon Spawn. So it's mitigated, so now we get to decrease her defense. Who knows? Maybe we kill her and then instantly kill everybody else with Celestial Awe. It is an incredible, incredible kit, guys. Let's take a look at her multipliers. This is a weird one because if I remember correctly, it's Celestial Awe, right? 3.9 multiplier. If you guys are lucky enough to have Harima, you let me know if you agree with me on this. But it hits so much harder than 3.9. It feels like, to me, you know? It feels like a big daddy nuke, you know? Anyway, 3.9 is still very hard. And then we have a 1.6 times 3 on that A2 with the instant activation chance if we kill them, which a lot of the times we do, and then a 3.3 hard-hitting attack on the A1. So there you have it, guys. Those are my top 10 defense-based nukers in Raid Shadow Legends. Who did I forget or who doesn't belong on the list? You guys go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.